I'm here to tell you why returning production is a giant issue for Georgia next year.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hey, if you're missing out, lockedonbulldogs.supercast.com, we're already talking a lot of the ideas we're getting from this episode, as well as other places happen on the Discord, as well as text messaging. Get on the action. You're missing out. Not that one. There we go. LockedOnBulldogs.supercast.com. Become an everydayer, ad-free episodes, as well as texting communication with Daniel and I, giving us ideas and insights, as well as exclusive content where we break down players coming in, a little bit more information for you. Get over there. Glad you're here with us. The number one sports podcast network in the entire world is Locked On. We're talking about the Bulldogs. Today, I'm talking about three things. One, I'm talking about returning production on the defensive side for Georgia. Let me tell you, you should be thrilled. Two, I'm talking about returning offensive production. We've been talking about it all offseason. There's a clear strength and there's a clear deficiency. We're going to talk about that. And then lastly, third segment, people, you know what's coming for you. But let's start here. We're starting with returning production. By the way, shout out to our man, Dawgs Stats. Dawgs Stats is great insight for all UGA fans. Get over to his site. He will tell you exactly what's going on with incredible numbers. We're going to break down the defensive side of snap counts returning. Now, here's a very, very simple way of understanding this. Like, very, very simple way. When you talk about returning production from one team to the next, you have to do two things with returning production. One, you have to say, is the returning production high, low from last year? If you had a successful last year, then returning production is good, apparently. If you have a bad team last year, returning production has a hit or miss. It could be good in that there's continuity, there's growth, there's people going into the offseason, these players producing greater talent and greater skill as they get in the program more. Or you have a bad team that's coming back and they're bad. You need to change it up. The transfer portal helps find deficiencies, identify them, and then plug and play through that where you need snap counts and better snap counts. So it's not just all, hey, this team has a lot of returning people. Florida, we're going to find out, has a lot of returning snap production, but is it good snap production? The transfer portal, they may have addressed a few things, may not have. We'll talk about that. But for the Dogs, this is what's important. Defensively, we are returning a large number of front seven guys. I'm going to get down to it. And then we are bringing in the transfer portal hit and bringing in guys that identify in the secondary where we're losing snap counts. So let's go through the numbers right now. Defensively, just a total number of snap counts as a whole unit. Defensive side of the ball, whole unit. Who are they? Where are they coming back? Georgia is second in the SEC with returning returning snap counts coming back. That's dang good. I mean, that is dang good what we see from Georgia returning 85% of snap counts coming back for this defense. That was one of the better defensive units in the SEC, not the best, one of the better ones, and at times played elite football. At other times did not play elite football. Now, why this is important on the defensive side just as a whole, we were one of the youngest teams. We're returning all of those guys. Snap counts production-wise was good to elite. Sometimes dipped below that. Sometimes it was average to good to elite. That's where we fit the bulk of our understanding. However, there were times we dipped down, and that dip down was lack of experience, new guys settling in. You would assume, based upon the efficiency and the metrics coming back, that the snap count coming back is a good snap count, not a bad snap count, not a bad team coming back, but rather these are the people that we want. Okay. Now, if you were to dig down a little deeper, not just snap counts, but 83% of tackles are coming back for Georgia. 84% of sacks are coming back for Georgia. This is very good news. Pressure rate, 77% of production coming back for Georgia. And then lastly, pass breakups, you're going to find out 70% of snap counts coming back. So here's how it looks. As a whole, we're having more people come back. Tackles, we're having a very good. We're 5th in the SEC in tackles coming back. In sacks, we are 4th in the SEC in returning production. Interceptions, 4th. Pressure rates, 5th. Pass breakups, we're down on the list behind Oklahoma, Arkansas, 70%. What this means is this. Front 7, those who stop the run, which we did pretty well last year at times, exceptional at other times. Alabama comes to mind. Even game 1 against Ole Miss, when Trinidad Chambliss went off, in game 2, when Trinidad Chambliss went off, Lacey came back and gave a great performance. I thought he was not going to be effective at all in that game with the injury, as well as what Georgia wanted to do offensively. And we missed tackles against him. It was bad. But what we have coming back is front 7, a high amount of highly productive young guys returning. And in the transfer portal, adding a key piece with Williams coming over from Auburn, who's going to only encourage the number of sack rate, pressure rate, tackles to go up. He's going to be playing a lot. Chris Cole is going to be a jack of all trades. We have him coming back. We have Raylan Wilson coming back. That's a large percentage. KJ Bolden coming back, a large percentage. But the pass breakups, that's where we dipped down in returning production. And Kirby said, hey, let's go hit the portal and let's go get 2 great safeties. Let's go get Barnes, who wants to have a Christopher Smith type acceleration, and Riddle, who wants to have another Christopher Smith type extension up. Aguero goes over to Ole Miss, and I think maybe at minimum that's a trade. That's a like for like trade, possibly. That's my suspicion so far. We'll hear more of Kirby, and he's going to tell us how it is, because the loss of Aguero and the loss of the star position is crucial to the way that Georgia plays defense. But if you look at the returning production on the defensive side, Georgia fan, you should be salivating. It's a big deal that we're getting this number of players back, because they were so young, they were so developmental, and they played well at times, nearly elite in very small windows as the season progressed. And next year, what I'm trying to tell you is we are starting at a better position next year on the defensive side with knowledge, comfortability, understanding of the playbook, and understanding of Kirby Smart's system than we were last year. 2026 season, we'll start with the defense ahead of where we started 2025. There's no question in my mind about that. We were nervous about the defensive line. We were nervous about a couple of corner positions, which we saw Dalen Everett hold down, but Daniel Harris not. We saw transfer portal hit. We saw guys step up that were younger, and they're going to have to continue to do so. We saw glimpses of a young defense showing out their skill. When they just got to play, they played well. Now they're going to have to just go play well. They're the ability for them to simply run and tackle and hit and ball is going to be there, but they have skill, competency, efficiency, and a grasp of the defense that's light years ahead of what it was last year. I mean, to the tune of, like we said, defensive snap counts coming back 85%. You thought we lost a lot in Aguero. What I'm saying is we didn't drop off that much, and the younger guys and the newer guys that are stepping in are going to fit very well. Ole Miss is the only team ahead of us with returning snap count production, and a large part of that, they lost a couple of key guys, not a very good defense. That's where you look at not a good defense returning guys who were lower, and a couple of key ones. Prince gone. Linebacker gone. I don't know if Ole Miss wants those snap counts back that they're getting back. I think they wanted new blood, which is what they're trying to do by tampering with Clemson, which is wild to me. I can't wait for Dabo to talk about the tampering of the inside linebacker group that he thought he had, and then Ole Miss comes a knocking, and Pete Golding does the exact same thing as Lane Kiffin. Ole Miss fan. Are you complaining about it? Oh, no, you're not. You like it. Okay, good. Just making sure we're on the same page. I'm going to come back and talk about the offensive side, because this is where it gets interesting. And Dog fans, I have a caution for you, but I have a hope. But first, these. These are, in fact, FanDuel. FanDuel's fantastic. It's officially playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action because right now, every NFL playoff game, FanDuel gets a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts. Open the profit boost first thing on the game day and see what boosts you want to apply, and then boom, apply it, get in on the action, make your picks, apply for profit boost, even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game. Talking about snap count efficiencies, getting back with us again. A lot of this, we're going to break down players that are in the portal and coming into Georgia because not everything is done clearly yet. There's still a lot of who knows with quarterbacks from Duke, maybe going to Miami, linebackers from Clemson, maybe going elsewhere to Ole Miss. There's still some things in the court to figure out, which, by the way, what an absolute show of shame the NCAA is, but I digress. If you want more information, lockedonbulldogs.supercast.com. Get into the everyday where we break down more of this in depth. You need to be in on that. We're talking about the offensive side now. Defense, I'm sky high on. Like I am just beyond over the mood, excited. It's thrilling to me. Thrilling to see what we have there. Here's what gets a little interesting for me as it pertains to snap count and returning production for Georgia on the offensive side. Now, the known that we have, let's just talk about it. We have our quarterback back. So the passing attempts, the passing yards, passing touchdown, everything that we saw through the air is returning this year. Every single piece of it returning for us. That's thrilling. Not a single drop will be down in the quarterback room for Georgia, which, if I can just tell you, it's been a hot minute since that's been the case, right? It's been a hot minute since Georgia has had continuity, consistency, and stability within the quarterback room. Jake Fromm, unexpectedly, and I think bad advice, goes to the draft. Should have come back for another one. Stetson Bennett was the last time we had this kind of continuity. And even with Justin Fields leaving in the midst of that, even with a number of other guys behind him that needed to take off and go find their place, other locations, which is great. We haven't had this much continuity. We have all 3, 4, 5, if you're counting walk-ons who have just been put on Scully and have an opportunity to do well. We have 5 guys. 6 with a transfer coming in for Oregon, who likely understands what's the tall task ahead of him and unseating a number of guys. We're set at continuity, consistency, and snap count and productivity for the quarterback room for the foreseeable future. Again, you wonder why Jared Curtis flipped to Vanderbilt, where it is a line of consistency and stability at Georgia. And he tried to find where he slotted into that and saw and took the numbers and said, at Vanderbilt, there's no question about it. I can go and I can get on the action today. And great. Stop thinking 8 years ago, college football. That doesn't exist anymore. 8 years ago, Jared Curtis likely would have come to Georgia. Likely would have sat, likely would have done. But now there's an opportunity for massive changeover and massive flips and massive from Joe to all pro, from nobodies to everybody's in a heartbeat. And that's why he went and did it, because he can do so in a heartbeat and he can get money for it in a heartbeat. 8 years ago couldn't have been the case. Likely, if he was 8 years younger, would have been at Georgia. And nobody would have been complaining about Kirby Smart not being able to be the winningest coach in NIL era, period. I saw a stat today against ranked opponents. I think Indiana has 6 wins, Curt Cignetti. And I heard some moron say Curt Cignetti is a better coach than Kirby Smart. That's just stupid. You're not a fan of football if that's what you say. He is a very good coach, one of the top 10 in the nation. National championship. But again, Coach O won a national championship. Let's slow down. I'm not saying Curt Cignetti's Coach O by any stretch of the imagination. What I'm saying to you is Kirby Smart has something like over 50 wins in the NIL era against. It's just ridiculous. I digress. Offensively, we have all the returning production on the quarterback position. Rushing yards. we have all the production coming back. I mean, Branson, notwithstanding, there were minimal percentage of yards and snap counts and rushing touchdowns that went to him, but we're getting essentially all of it back. Here's where things start to take it. So in the running back and quarterback room, consistency, solidarity, and returning high efficiency production. Great. Offensive line is where it gets a little interesting. We begin to see a little bit of a, you can call downgrade of returning snap production. The offensive line did well last year. We were very happy with it at times, gave clean pockets for Gunnar Stockton and very good push on the offensive line for running attempts. Georgia's returning 61% of snap counts coming back. 61. That's not a whole heck of a lot. That's not a ton. That's just enough to say to us we have consistency with the inside. Now, Bobo was hurt for a lot of that. Okay, so that comes off the table. Our tackles leaving is a huge part of it. That accounts right there for 2/5 of the snap counts being gone, right? Bobo being injured and looking what that is. But for the most part, not only tackles, but a couple of very solid interior presence. Juan Gaston, Bobo, right there. Glover, we've talked about this a lot. That's the 61%. And the 61% you're coming back is a highly effective group. Not just good. I'm talking elite level play. Those three right there are elite players on the offensive line, not just for Georgia, but for any SEC team. That's sweet 61%. I know we have a lot. 39% needing to be replicated and replaced is a huge blow. I get it. But man, the 61% we have coming back is a solid A+. I mean solid A+. There's not any offensive lineman that you could say to me in the SEC and say, hey, I'll give you these three for your three interior. And we do believe Juan Gaston is going to slot out to the left tackle. And I would say, nope. You don't have to tell me who it is. You don't have to. I will automatically say, nope. Mike Bobo is the best center in the SEC. Gaston, as well as Glover, are the best young guard/tackle power maulers that we have in the SEC. We continue looking at production, so that is not a good amount coming back, 61. But if I was to tell you the targets, oh boy. Oh no. If I was to tell you the amount of targets returning for Georgia, reception targets, throwing targets, in which Gunnar Stockton and this offense is getting the ball out to, 45% are coming back. That is second worst in the SEC. Last year, Kirby Smart dug deep into the transfer portal, as well as getting Colby Young back. Noah Thomas, Colby Young, Zachariah Branch. There's a majority of our Oscar Delp, majority of our targets coming back, or that were there that are no longer here, not coming back, and where we have to pick up. But you didn't understand it was so bad, right? I mean, Kentucky is behind us. Missouri's ahead of us. Alabama is at 54% coming back. The number one team having targets coming back. Florida's up there. South Carolina's up there. Arkansas, LSU with the transfer portal. It's going to be interesting to see because Canyon, Humphreys, CJ Wiley, Talon Taylor, they are unproven, highly sought after, but nowhere near tested. They ain't proved it. The passing attack needs to prove it. So Georgia fans that were screaming for change, well, you got in the passing game. We'll see how that goes. Receptions, not only targets, but receptions, 42% coming back. Reception yards, again, second worst, only behind Kentucky, 46% coming back. Reception touchdowns, this is interesting to me, 57% coming back. So of the touchdowns that are spread out a lot, not just snap counts, but of the returning production, it's not bad. It's over half the touchdowns receiving are coming back, which means we distribute the ball. Lawson Lucky, Elias Williams, guys like that, Sokovia White, so on and so forth. Offensively, we have our offensive line, running back, and quarterback that are solid. Wide receiver, tight end, up in the air. And that production, it's interesting because I said at the beginning of the show, if you want to know production coming back is either good or bad, you don't want them, get rid of them. Georgia had a very successful wide receiver room last year. I was very happy with it. We're losing all of them. It's a giant question mark. So this is what you have to think and you have to know. Mike Bobo and Kirby Smart believe they saw a huge deficiency in wide receivers 2 years ago and said, no more. Get it out. We need brand new guys. And they cut everybody out of the wide receiver room and brought new guys in. What they're saying this year is we don't have to do that. Kirby Smart knows I'm looking at a deficiency. I'm looking at a problem. And if I see a problem, I will go find new guys. And he did. He did this year, which means that although we're losing production, we have huge upside and promise coming back to us. We're going to back into this. Loyal third segment listeners know exactly what's coming for them. A little special, and it's going to be good. But first, these. TurboTax is here. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever just to hand things off and move on with your day. TurboTax is full service. Have your taxes done by a trusted local support expert, start to finish, without the stress or the guesswork. It's a huge time saver and gives you real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling all of your taxes. Limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local tax expert for just $150. TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. That's fine. Just file by February 28th. Taxes are off your plate and back in your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. Loyal third segment listeners are here, and we appreciate you guys so very much. You guys are the best and what makes this podcast really, really special for Daniel and I. Today, we are previewing the big, huge game tomorrow. Georgia, Texas. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Clint, Georgia, Texas isn't that big of a deal. Texas is not that great. They are bad compared to the rest of the league. Well, you'd be wrong. Can I just encourage you and can I just tell you something? That is not the case. Texas UGA is going to be a dang good game, and I'm very excited for it. Georgia comes in off of a couple of big wins. I'm very excited about the wins that we've just seen recently. We are 16-3, Texas Longhorns 11-8, and right now Texas is favored by 1.5 points. 1.5 points that Texas should win this game. They're at home. It's a big, big road game for Georgia. It's early tip. Get on the action. You need to have it. But here's what I want to preview for you, and here's what's really wild to me as we look at this game. Texas and Georgia, points per game. Texas 86, Georgia 94.8. Scoring margin is 11 for Texas. They keep games pretty dang close. They allow 75 points per game. Georgia scoring margin is 18.9, nearly 19 points. This is interesting to me because, again, we lead the nation in points per game, and we are able to get stops. If you look at the way Georgia has played, it's been often mentioned and it's been talked about a ton, just so much of the time. Georgia has been said, well, how do we have so many points per game in our 3-point deficiency? Our 3-point lack of shooting and lack of ability is bad. It's because we play the number 1 tempo in the country. Top 5 in shortest offensive possession lengths, meaning when we get the ball, we are running up and down the floor and we're getting points. We're getting buckets. Half of our points, 45 points, comes in transition or at the free throw line. Mike White is making it very easy to get buckets against a Texas team that is not good defensively. I mean, they are nowhere near good. They are deficient, nowhere good at defense. Georgia, on the other hand, is showing out that they can actually play very, very, very good defense. Sam Surreal leading the charge, but then on the perimeter, guys stepping up and doing great. This is going to be a big game for us because what it's going to come down to, this is an offense who can score in Texas pretty dang well, very high field goal percentage. If Georgia wins, it's because they're going to be efficient and running up and down the floor and because they got stops. It's going to come down to 1 or 2 stops. That's what this game is going to come down to. We saw it at Missouri. We saw it in Athens, but against Missouri. If you can stop and you can get a couple of plays, 1 or 2 plays that are very, very crucial. a critical fourth quarter or end of the games, end of the second half stop. You get to the free throw line, you get 3-point play. That's what's going to come down. Again, road games in the SEC are not easy to come by. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. And Texas is not just the little cupcake you think it is. It's SEC play. Yes, I know they don't have the record, but it's still a huge underdog winning moment that is going to only add to the resume. A good showing adds to the resume, but a win on the road. Daniel has said we need to go 500 the rest of the year in the SEC, loosely associates with home road splits. But this is a very winnable game. Very, very, very winnable game for us. We can get in on this, no problem whatsoever. And how we do it is timely defensive stops. Timely defensive stops are going to be the key to everything. I'm saying we can go back and forth. We can go blow for blow. On the road, we saw it a couple times where offense maybe stagnates and we couldn't go blow for blow. I think against Texas, we can. I think they're soft defensively enough where if we wanted to run and get going and get up and in transition, go to the line, get some layups, get some easy baskets, swing the ball around and dive into the paint, I think we can do so. We saw catchings come up defensively as well as interior rebounding. We had more rebounds than Mizzou last game, which is a huge addition to us. We saw timely 3-point plays, and we saw, again, one or two key moments where offense needed to, and they stepped up. This Texas team does not present us with problems that are insurmountable, that I actually think will be just fine for us. So I anticipate us winning this game. I'm calling for us to win this game. And if so, we're only vaulting up more and more and more and more in our tourney resume, which is almost solidified for us. Again, we go 500 the rest of the year. We're at that 7th seed or higher. I want more. I'm greedy. I'm excited for it. I'm very, very greedy. And the more that we get into it, the better it's going to be for us. This game, critical. Texas, I don't think has the dudes. They cannot keep up with us offensively, even though they're a very good offensive team. And that's what I think is wildest about this season for Georgia basketball. And if you're not in on it, get in on it. Also, get in on Supercast. I don't know what you guys are doing. LockedOnBulldogs.supercast.com. You're missing out. I really, really do think that Georgia's ability to play offense is going to absolutely be too much for Texas. And our defense has been highly efficient as well and explosive as well at times. I know you can be explosive defensively because how Georgia plays defense translates into offensive transitional buckets. I anticipate more of that exactly happening as we go into this game at Texas. We'll see you after the game. We'll do a breakdown. We'll do a review. We'll do an understanding of it. We'll give you all the insights and the tidbits. This is Clint for Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.